I recently challenged the idea of people turning up to high birch shoots with a 410. This caused a hot debate between the for and against brigade. To be fair, I decided to do further tests, and results on the pattern plate at moderate range showed me that on 20 to 35 yard birds, in the correct hands of course, the little 410 would be okay. Through this online debate, I was challenged by some 410 enthusiasts to shoot and film a day on appropriate game for that calibre. Although my first go with a 410, the following film proves that a nice day with good company can be had at moderate cost on these small bore days. I do, however, stick to my words as far as youngsters and 410s are concerned. They are by no means a beginner's gun, and a 28 bore would be more fitting for the youngster, whilst Dad enjoyed the day with his 410. It was only a small day, but every gun had plenty of shooting, and I think because of its affordability, these small bore days are a marvellous way to introduce youngsters and ordinary working country folk into the driven traditional shooting world without breaking the bank. This is a very good way of saving our shooting heritage. I would also add, all the game I shot and saw shot was taken within the limits of this little gun, and I see no reason whatsoever why anyone would want to shoot at birds beyond its and the shooter's capabilities. Morning, Richard.
Morning. Pleased to see you.
My first 410 day.
Yeah, well...
This is from one end of the scale to other.
Well, I know you're a specialist on high birds,
Yeah.
but I'm intrigued to see how we get on with Partridge for the 410. Have you shot a 410 before?
Never.
Delighted that you've accepted. I'm
Yeah.
delighted that you've come.
Well, I like to show all forms of shooting.
Yes.
And there's shoots that can put 410 days on.
Yes.
At small bore
Yeah.
days. Let's call it small bore days, because they've got traditional partridge shoots over edges.
That's right. I have a company called Affordable Days,
Yeah.
and I organise shoot days.
Yeah.
But I've got more and more people now
Yeah.
that are keen on 410s.
Yeah.
I've probably got 60 or 70 people on my client list that shoot 410s.
Yeah,
Most of
which
my
is
clients
fantastic.
are people who work for a living.
Yeah.
And they're careful how they spend the money, and I like to keep the cost down if I can.
Yeah.
I know there's one or two guys that have come today, they're keen on their 410s and they
Yeah.
only shoot 410s,
Oh,
like Les does.
Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah.
And myself, I
Yeah.
shoot 410 for most of my shooting.
Yeah.
If I'm going anywhere where I know the birds are a bit extreme, then I don't take it.
That's right. That's brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah.
But for the bulk of my shooting in Lincolnshire,
Yeah.
410 will do the job. Anything out to
Yeah.
35 yards,
Yeah.
if the pattern's on the bird,
Yeah.
it kills them just the same.
Yeah. Well, I know that you're a gut shot as well, Richard. You know, you've got a good pedigree.
I think I can handle a little bit.
Yeah, you've got a good pedigree in clay shooting, so am I, but I'm prepared to get my ass kicked today with a 410, because the last time I shot one at anything when I was 12-year-old was a single bolt Webley and Scott.
I think we all started
And
there,
you've got to be
didn't we?
very careful to put when you put the bolt back, because sometimes went off. Well, here's to a fantastic day, hopefully, anyway, but as you say, it's not a fantastic shooting day with that sun.
No,
But,
it isn't.
I think we've got a bit of wind, so we should be okay.
We'll be good.
Yeah,
We'll be
lovely.
good.
I'm going to try a few of these 6s from Game Bore first. The 2.5 inch, then we're going to try the Game Bore 3 inch later on to see how we get on. We're not shooting mega birds, we're shooting appropriate birds for the load. Anything between 20 and 35 yard would be classed as a good bird for this little load. Well, first drive ever with a 410 on live game. Don't expect anything spectacular happening with me. The first thing will be remembering to take the safety off.
Yeah, I generally find with the 410 you just need to keep the gun under control. If you just swing and shoot the way you do with your 12, you're very swinging in front of things.
Yeah.
I think quite a bit lighter.
Oh, it is. It's half the weight of what I'm used to.
You just have to be a bit more controlled.
Yeah.
you did well.
Oh, thank you, Richard. Yeah.
Well done.
A couple of dud cartridges, but
Yeah,
they were leisure specials.
Yeah, well, there you go.
This is the second drive of our 410 adventure. Had 7 or 8 shots on the first drive. I think at 4 or 5 birds. Had a couple of mishaps. Forgot to take the automatic safety off, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the first drive. It's worlds apart from what I'm used to shooting, really. But if you choose the right bird that's within range for these guns and loads, then you can have a very enjoyable day. We're on the third drive called White House, and so far there's been some nice passes and shot a couple of fat pheasants. I'm going to send Johnny now with a lad that shoots with the 410 on a regular basis. He's a lad called Richard, nice lad and a very proficient shot with the 410, so hopefully we don't put him off. Fourth drive, sheep pens, very windy now. I enjoy shooting the little Browning. Nice little gun. First time I shot it, took it out of the box last night. So anyway, I'm going to send Johnny with the former world 410 champion, Lesmond, my right hand man and 410 expert. Nice shooting with you, Richard.
Thank you very much.
Give my best wishes to your father as well.
I will.
What do they call him?
Keith.
Keith.
Yeah.
Keith. All the best, mate, from Dave Carrie. And this lad of yours is an excellent shot with a 410. I'll try and get him on something bigger. It might probably hurt him.
I'm not used to it.
Well shot anyway, mate. Very nice day, and thank you very much.
Pleased.
And early on you were telling me about the estates. Is it Allgarth?
Yeah, it all comes under Allgarth, which is Craig Dennis. Yeah, he has,
there's 3 shoots, isn't there?
3 different shoots. Here, which is what we call Stubbs's land.
Right.
Across another piece of land called Jog Gladwin, which is Donington on Bain. This is classed as Welton on the Wolds.
Right.
And then back at Thimbleby.
But we're all 410 men today. You know, it's the first time for me, and I've enjoyed it.
There's been some excellent shooting today. There's some good birds, you know, when they got up there on the wind.
Yeah, and, there's been some good shooting all the way down the line off everybody. Yeah. Going back to the original film that we did about 410s and I was always against using 410s in the field, but this land lends itself to that type of shooting really. They're not extreme birds, but you've got to work for the bird, but they're well within range of a 410, and I intend going back out with the 410. First time I've ever shot one at game, and I've met a new friend here, Richard. He's invited me 3 days free of charge. Just going back to the day that we've had, it's everybody's enjoyed it. Do you think you could cope with any overseas visitors? Like I get a lot of Americans looking for shooting, and the Americans love 410 shooting and small bore shooting in general.
Yeah. I think we could. We've got some very nice estates. We've got some very nice terrain.
Yeah.
And we've also got some very nice hotels.
Yeah. Yeah. So you could
that aren't overly expensive.
So if I got somebody. Some overseas visitors who want to come home and shoot a full teams. Could you cater for that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
They more than likely want to shoot back to back or 3 days on the trot.
Yeah,
you know.
we can do that.
You can sort that out for them. That'd be lovely.
Again, numbers isn't an issue.
Yeah.
If they wanted to shoot 200, if they wanted to shoot 300, wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah. So I think we've got to grow. We've got to keep shooting growing all the time. You know. I put on my films at the end. We generate 2.2 billion in money now.
That's right.
Turnover. Well, why can't we make it 3.2 billion? You know. Once we get to a stage where it's very difficult then for the government to turn around and say this is a useless occupation or a useless sport.
Yeah.
It's an actual sport that's earning money.
It's a huge boost to the economy.
Yeah, it is.
Rural economies. Probably in the winter time when there isn't
exactly. Well, for example, I went and shot Shargate, and we stayed in a little village. There were one pub, one little B&B, and the next one was 10 mile away with a little pub and a little B&B. And I thought, well, that's what do you do in the winter time? She said, well, if it isn't for shooting, he said, we can't stop open.
No.
We can't earn any money. No. Every party that they got in. From September through to end of January, it was shooting parties, you know. Yeah. And funny enough, these people had already retired from full-time work, but actually gone into the countryside to settle down, but ticking over, which I think is marvellous.
Supposedly to retire, but I'm busier now than I've ever been.
Well, I ain't met one shooting man yet, and I met a lot of, I meet them a lot on the moors as well. You go into the moors and there's people there picking up and flagging, and some of them's 90-year-old. And they're not a burden on the health service. You know, they're all out there keeping fit.
Yeah.
They're not screwing benefit system.
No.
You know, they're all earning a bit of pocket money. Same goes with young lads. You see young kids there, and I love it, mate. I always get a little aim to do with kids, and it's nice to see them on the moor helping out, flagging up a beating, and they learn more. They learn more, Richard, when they sat at people like us, of the older generation. Them kids, they learn more about life, an hour a day with the old boys, and they do sat on street corners causing trouble.
Yeah, sat in the bedrooms playing with Xboxes.
Yeah. I can't understand why people attack the country down and what goes off in it. You know, why they should just leave it alone. You don't meet many people that aren't good people, do you? They're all genuine nice people.
The urban population is growing all the time, whereas the rural population is diminishing.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem.
We've got to get back into schools, into youngsters, because aunties, they're not born aunties, are they?
No.
You know, they're created into aunties because they don't hear anything else.
That's right.
You know, there's nobody taking them out into the woods and showing them a badger, or showing them how to catch a rabbit, or how to,
that's right.
you know, we used to we'd be out every day ferreting and messing about, won't we? You know, trying to catch a rabbit or something, or a pheasant.
Home from school and you'd be straight out.
Be straight out. You wouldn't be allowed it out till it got dark, would you? You know, you get some boat of an old fella if he turned up, it was still light. And I think that's what the biggest problem is, really. There's no education whatsoever about the countryside. I'm forever falling out with Basque and them other bodies, me, because they religiously go to the game fairs every year. I'll say to them, they hate it when I'm here and Johnny too. I said, "Now, what are you doing here?" "What do you mean?" I said, "What are you doing here?" "Well, this is where we get all our customers." I said, "They're already customers. They're already converted people. Everybody that comes through that game fair gate is already a convert." I said, "Why don't you go in the middle of Barnsley outside Tesco's and get some bloody stones and things thrown at you? You know, set stall up there and show people who's nothing to do with the countryside, and show them that, you know, what the countryside's about, what a pheasant looks like when it's being dressed and when it's being cooked, and let them have a taste of it. You might have a chance of surviving then, you see." You know. But we're doing what we were going to go to Bradford when Bradford banned banned the grouse shooting. I phoned them up, me, and I bet 75% of them have never seen a grouse. No. But they ban grouse shooting just like that. You know. And they've got to start getting back into them schools. I said, "Why don't you?" I said, "How many retired gamekeepers is there?" I said, "Why don't you go and knock on them gamekeepers' doors and pay them a few quid every week to go to schools?" I said, Who's better than told retired gamekeepers to go and educate the schools, the kids, about the countryside? You know, I said, and they've all got a story to tell. You know, they captivate a young audience for a gamekeeper, wouldn't he? You know, take his few wares here, a few snares and one thing and one, and talk about the countryside for an hour or two and captivate the kids. They don't do that, and they should do.
Some of the mothers will probably come in and complain and that place shut down.
Aye, right. If you don't try and learn them, and you know, it will just vanish. Shooting will vanish. Everything else will vanish in the countryside. Got to get back in there and start teaching them something. It's always so right in the private schools because I suppose it's the education they've got in the private schools. You know, the countryside's part of the private school, the private education. But you've got to get into mainstream because that's 90% of the schooling. You know, else we'll vanish altogether.